Ms. Norton, you moved in with pets?
Yes.
How many?
We initially agreed that it would be 2 dogs, and my plan was to leave my cat back in Kentucky. I thought it would be better to go ahead and bring the cat with me and inform her about that after the fact. And within 2 weeks of us being there, he had spent an afternoon on the patio with me where there was succulents in the planter, and he got around the succulents and then ended up getting toxic poisoning, and he died. So 2 weeks within us being there. So I never informed her of having him there because he was dead.
I'm sorry. Were you aware of the cat?
No.
No.
And at the end of her lease, so if this happened early on in March of 2023, there were 3 cat litter boxes filled with cat waste that she had left, and the carpet soaked through in every room. I don't know how a dead cat could have left that at the end of the lease.
I did get another cat. I took in a rescue the month
Well, why didn't you
before I
mention
left.
that earlier?
The last month that I lived there,
Okay.
I took in a stray. And
You took in a stray?
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about this arrangement with the rent. So you were trying to help the defendant out. When was the temporary arrangement made?
We were in communication and discussion. Like I said, California's expensive. We struggle too. So we understood you get paid twice a month. You pay 50%. Sometimes the rent would spill over into the next month. So this continued on into the last 2 months, January and February. January, she paid the first half, and then we never saw the second half of January. February comes around, still no January, no February.
Those are the 2 months that you're suing for?
Correct. And then in the lease, it says we need a 30-day written notice. We got a 7-day written text message notice, so we are requesting the remaining 23 days of that expected notice.
Ms. Norton, why did you not provide that notice before you moved out?
It wasn't 7 days before I moved out that I'd let her know. It was actually the beginning of February on the 2nd when we spoke on the phone. I told her that I had lost my job and that I would not be able to stay because it was far too expensive for me to afford with no job and no prospects.
Did y'all have this conversation?
We did have a conversation that she was laid off from her job. At that point, she did not tell me she was moving out. She was going to try and find another job. I was very understanding because that's a scary situation. She even sent me her resume so I could help her try and find a job.
Okay. Judge Juarez.
I don't understand why you think she gave you notice. You gave her notice that she had to vacate. You sent her a text message on February 21st saying that you hate to do this, but if you do not pay the rent owed in full by Wednesday, February 22nd, this will count as your 30-day notice to vacate the property. A lot of tenants would immediately give you a hard time and say, I'm not vacating, I'm not doing this. Instead, she said, no problem, I'll be out in 8 days. I mean, wasn't that a benefit to you after you had provided her notice that she needed to leave?
Yes, that is a benefit, but still owing us, that amount of money. So yes, that was a benefit of her moving out, but again, she still owed a month and a half.
She still owed the month and a half back rent. No, I understand that, and I understand that's what you're claiming. So I want to move on to the late fees. You're charging $1,300 in late fees. Where do you come up with that number?
Because in the lease, it is after 10 days, $100. Okay. So I was going off of every 10 days after the January was due.
You are charging her $100 for each 10 days that she's passed,
Correct.
as opposed to a single late fee of $100 when she has not paid within 10 days.
Correct.
All right, you don't get to do that.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to the damages. The letter that you provided her within 21 days, itemizing the damages for purposes of her security deposit return. Where is that?
We did not provide her with that because she had blocked us on all social media, blocked our phone numbers. We tried contacting her parents, couldn't get a hold of her.
Did you have a forwarding address?
No.
Did you send it to her parents?
No.
Ms. Norton, you said that at some point you did get an embellished and inflated itemized list.
Correct.
So at some point they did get you
She
an
was
itemized
able to
list.
email it to me. There was never any kind of blocks on my emails, and she knew exactly where I was working. That's eventually how I did get the small claims court summons.
And how did you get that to her?
We hired a private investigator and process server to find her, and then provided her with what we needed for small claims court.
Okay, where is that itemized list?
It is the repair receipts.
Do you believe that she's responsible for all?
No, ma'am. We understand as a landlord that there will be wear and tear. However, this was quite extensive, so we just determined 50%.